show, we'll have the final of the Pepsi Endurance Series. We'll talk with trainer Philip Lynds about the big year he's been enjoying, and we'll check in with Dave Carey, who's been recently sidelined due to a racing accident at Truro Raceway. But first, here's Doug Harkness with a report on recent racing developments from the Maritimes.
Well, catching up on some developments in the maritime harness racing scene, the appeal board of the Maritime Provinces Harness Racing Commission has given Danny Romo an additional 60-day suspension and increased his fine from $500 to $1,000 for being the trainer of record of Blue Amigo, the 2-year-old colt who tested positive after the Dairy Queen Futurity race. The appeal board took Romo's evidence that he was not actually the trainer of the horse, but because he was the trainer of record of the horse, he was given the additional fine. They felt it was a serious matter. Romo will be allowed to be on the grounds until 4 o'clock in the afternoons to conduct some of his business, but won't be back up until January the 25th. Meanwhile, at Tartan Downs in Sydney, the Maritime Harness Racing Commission has held meetings with the horsemen and track officials there. There's a possibility that track may be closed because of the taxes it owes the city of Sydney. However, they had a meeting last week, and there are hopes that some arrangement will be made that Tartan Downs continue to race, at least on a part-time basis, under the stewardship of the Maritime Harness Racing Commission. We'll be following that story on future editions. This is Doug Harkness for Keeping Pace.
Keeping Pace and Pie Chevold, Central Nova Scotia's largest GM truck dealer, are proud to offer official Keeping Pace t-shirts. If you send us a story idea and we use it on the air, we'll send you one. So forward your ideas to Keeping Pace, care of Eastern Cable, Channel 4, 69 Walker Street, Truro, Nova Scotia, B2N 4A8. Official Keeping Pace t-shirts are only available through this offer. Philip Lynds has been enjoying another great season in the training ranks with such stars as Hornby Blaze, Endangered, and the stakes filly Island Piper. Doug Harkness talked with Philip about his season.
Well, Philip Lynds, you've enjoyed another big season as a trainer. Hornby Blaze and Endangered from your stable have just been excellent. Tell me, what's the status for these horses now?
Well, right now, Doug, they're home out the farm resting a little bit. They come home. It'll be 2 weeks this Monday. We brought them home. Both of them raced well after the season was down here. We sent them out to Montreal and both raced well. Endangered, he had won 5 in a row, took a new record of 54-4. And Hornby Blaze, he raced in the invitation class and beat them twice up there, and won in 55 flat, which was a new mark for him. And he was second one night by a head, I believe, in 53-3.
And racing the likes of Broussard, too, is just a great racehorse.
Oh, he's raced super. He's raced against Broussard. His last start that he won, he raced against Broussard. Broussard finished second, and we're just real pleased with him. He raced tough all year. He's been racing for about a year and a half, and the little horse just doesn't seem to be tired. I don't know why. He should be, but just seems to keep going each week.
You certainly have to be happy with a horse that you've had a lot of confidence in since he came out in the 3-year-old year and Endangered. He had a big year, too.
Like I told you before, I think I get the most pleasure out of him. You had seen him train as a yearling, and then as a 2-year-old, you would never believe he would have taken a record of 54-4, but he's really come a long ways. He's got a few bad habits, but I guess we can overlook him for the way that he raced.
Philip, I understand that there's some plans to race these horses in the big track at the Meadowlands early in 1995, rather?
Endangered for sure. He's paid up into a couple early closures. We think he'll do well on a big track like that, so we're going to give him a chance there in January and February. Hornby Blaze, we're just going to play day by day and see just exactly what comes about. There's nothing there for him in early closers, so if he goes down, he's going to be racing awful tough. So we're just going to wait and see and take it day by day.
Now, you've got another old friend back in your stable in No Worries, who was just a great invitational horse in 1993, won the Provincial Cup at St. John and the Governor's Plate in Summerside. He's back in your stable?
Yes, it was a year right to the day that we sold him that he landed back here in Truro. I got the opportunity to know the owner that has him now, and he'd raced well down there all year, and we were talking back and forth on the phone, and different times we had tried to buy him back and just couldn't get a price tag negotiated out, and one day he just asked me if I'd be interested in taking him up here. And, well, you don't turn down a type of horse like that. And we went down and got him, brought him home, and the owner's the type of fellow that he likes to travel. He's been up here already once to Nova Scotia, the first time he was ever here, and he's going to come back and forth and watch him race. I think we're going to stand him stud and breed a few mares with him, and I think it's just a vacation outlet for the owner.
No worries. Will he be in the box fairly soon?
We qualified him last week. He was a little short. He had been off for about 3 weeks, and he was the type of horse that doesn't like a whole lot of training. So we're going to play it day by day. I imagine if they need him for this Sunday, we'll put him in the box, and if not, he'll be in to qualify. But he'll be there knocking on the door in a couple of weeks, I would think.
Great. It's good to have a good horse back that kind of strengthens their invitational field even more.
Oh, yeah, he's just a nice horse to be around. He really likes the Truro track. I think he could go more over a half mile than he could on a big track. So we look for him to be real strong again this winter.
Well, Philip, thanks very much for spending this time with us, and congratulations again on a big season.
Thanks very much, Doug.
The Pepsi Endurance Series over a mile and a half produced some surprises in the opening leg, with First Line Mac and Island Link winning their divisions. First Line Mac was trained by Philip Lynds and driven by Darren Crow. Doug Harkness talked with them about their chances in the final.
Philip Lynds' First Line Mac come up with a big performance in the Pepsi Series eliminations. Mile and a half suit this horse?
I thought he would. That's why we put him in there. He seemed to be the type of horse that seemed to go quite strong at the end of the mile, and never seemed really to get in gear till almost the end of an ordinary mile. So we put him in. He drew the rail, which made a big difference, but he showed that he liked it.
Will you train a horse for a mile and a half any different?
We trained him a little different. This horse here is one of the few horses that doesn't go out to the farm on a regular basis, but we took him out to the farm, freshened his attitude up a little bit, and brought him in a day late, not like we usually do, and we trained him the last 2 weeks a mile and a quarter, and changed his warm-up schedule on race day just a hair. So we did make a few changes, yes.
Well, Darren, first of all, congratulations on your victory last week. You got kind of a good trip.
Yeah, it was a real good trip. Worked out real good for him. He's kind of doesn't have really any quick speed, but he can grind it out. He doesn't mind roughing it. Worked out good for him. Pretty even fractions.
This horse, as you say, he's sort of a grinder, and he got away well. Is that his real strong fort in a series like this?
I'd say, like, he could probably race from... He races good from anywhere. He's nice to drive, and he doesn't take a whole lot out of himself. A lot of them are bowling and smashing, going them slow fractions, but he should be all right. He's nice to drive, and he doesn't take a lot out of himself.
Yourself, do you use any different strategy in a race like this?
Well, I had my watch with me the other day. A lot of people don't carry watches now, but I knew how fast we were going, and kind of just wanted to keep back off the pace. Pooker's horse was cutting a pretty good mile, so I figured I'd just sit back till I had to move anyway. So, worked out for the best.
Well, I want to wish you good luck Sunday, and First Line Mac, you think he's got a pretty good chance?
Well, he had the fastest time, pretty good last quarter. I'd say he got a shot anyway. Hope so.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Island Link, who won the other division of the Pepsi Endurance Series, was trained by Blair Laffin and driven by Robert Laffin. Doug Harkness checked in at their stable for a pre-race assessment.
Well, Blair Laffin, congratulations, first of all, for your victory with Island Link in the first leg of the Pepsi Series. As a trainer, do you train them any differently for 1.5 mile contests?
I didn't train him no different, no. I hardly ever train him. He raced Thursday night. He never trained for Sunday anyway, just jogged Saturday, raced Sunday.
This horse was good Sunday, came home good. Is that going to help him in the series, the fact he can get home so well?
Oh, it should. Like, that's the way he always races. He races from behind anyway. He's never going to hurt himself. Like, he's just that type of horse. He races from behind, gets what he can get. He don't win a lot of races. Maybe the other half mile, maybe we should have some more for him.
What do you think about these 1.5 mile races, the different distance? Do you like them as a trainer?
I'm going to do now with this fella anyway. I'd sooner go some short ones. Most of my horses are front-enders. So shorter miles would help most of mine.
But it is different. I think the fans enjoyed it.
Well, I think so. They bet it pretty good anyway. I think they liked it. It was a good race, this first race coming the mile. Like, there was 9 of them there, and the 10th horse was looking for a place to go. So it really looked like a good race.
Competitive fields, regardless how fast they go sometimes, right?
Yeah, it didn't matter what horses, like 2,000 claimers or 6,000. Like Classy Win was in there, no debtor. They was all in a bunch, you know.
Well, Robert Laffin, congratulations on your victory last week with Island Link in the first leg of the Endurance Series. As a driver, he must have gone a pretty good trip for you.
Yeah, he did. He raced real well.
This horse kind of likes to come the back end, though, doesn't he, Robert?
Yeah, he really doesn't get geared into about the three-quarter pole in the regular mile race, so the mile and a half just suit him perfect.
How do you think he'll be this week now?
All depends post position.
Is post position really important in a race like this?
Oh, it is. If you're sitting way back and you're moving open, you got to come 3-4 wide. Well, that's where disadvantage there.
You kind of took the short way home last Sunday.
Yeah.
Robert, want to wish you the best with Island Link in the Pepsi Series, and also want to congratulate you. You reached the 1,000-win plateau, and none of us knew about it.
No, I never knew either.
But 1,065 wins in your career, and you've driven some good ones, and good luck again Sunday.
Okay, thank you.
And now let's go to Doug Harkness to set the scene for the championship final of the Pepsi Endurance Series.
Well, 9 horses earned a berth in the Pepsi Endurance Series final after the elimination heats. The elimination heats, of course, were won by First Line Mac, with the trainer being Philip Lynds and Darren Crow driving, while the other division went to Island Link, driven by Robert Laffin and trainer Blair Laffin. Both these horses, we figure, had a pretty good chance in the 1.5 mile final, which goes for a purse of $3,575. Miss Ruby Mack, one of the horses that finished third last week, improves her position on this week's final, drawing post 1 for Jimmy Davis. Island Link from post 2, a good post position here. Sonny Mack was leaving from 3, and another New Brunswick entry, Jabulani, with Jill Berrio leaving from post 4. Jabulani finished real well in the elimination last week. First Line Mack drew post 5. That's a bit out, but still he can race first over. USA Made from post 6, the only 3-year-old in the race, the Cuckoo Clock son called Belle Al Bay, driven by Phil Pinckney in this race, replacing the regular driver John Ewell. Call Me Fit from post 8, and a horse that we like here, Classy Win. Classy Win finished big last week to finish third. She leaves from the trailing post 9, right behind Miss Ruby Mack today for Gary McDonald, and we figure that Classy Win, finishing third last week, has the class and the stamina to be the winner in this race. But let's go to Joe Kelly now for his call of the 1.5 mile final of the Pepsi Endurance Series.
They are off, and as they lead the gate, First Line Mac emerging on the outside, looking for the early lead against Island Link as they race into that first turn. Island Link coming away on top. Classy Win follows out in the pocket up on the outside and racing third as they head on to the opening quarter. And now driving up looking for the lead is Sonny Mack. Sonny Mack driving up now to take charge. Island Link is second. Classy Win gets away tied up third. Miss Ruby Mack is next in line fourth. First Line Mack has 5. Then Belle Isle Bay from 6. John Bulani in 7. 8th on the outside, USA Made. Call Me Fitz is 9th and sitting at the back of the field. 30-2 was the first quarter. They move off the top turn and approach the halfway point. Island Link has moved up and reclaimed the top spot by 1 length with Sonny Mack now sitting second. Moving up on the outside, first over, Miss Ruby Mack is racing third. Classy Win stays at the rail fourth. Outside racing in 5. That's the half mile. Is number 7, Belle Isle Bay. 6th and locked in is First Line Mac. USA Made third over in 6. Jabulani at the rail in 7. 8th is Jabulani, 9th on the outside. As they move on to the backstretch, is Call Me Fitz, the half mile, 103-2 down the backstretch. Island Link is still the boss by 1 length. Sonny Mack in pursuit second. Miss Ruby Mack first over is racing third. Classy Win is caught in along the rail racing fourth. Second over in 5. As they continue into the turn is Belle Isle Bay in along the rail and racing out of 6 with nowhere to go is First Line Mac. USA Made has 7. Only Fitz on the outside 8 and now 9th and trailing. As they move off the top turn is Jabulani, the 3/4 of a mile in 1:37 and 3/5. They move off the top turn and move up and approach the mile mark and up on the outside and sweeping up quickly now to take charge is Call Me Fitz. Call Me Fitz taking over by 2 lengths. Racing along second as they dip into the turn is Island Link. Jabulani is out there 3 wide fourth. They head up the backstretch. 2:10-2 was the mile. They move on to the 1.25 mile. Call Me Fitz leads the way by 1. Island Link is second on the outside. Third is Miss Ruby Mack. Sonny Mack along the rail fourth. 5th and looking to get off the rail is Classy Win. Jabulani outside has 6. They race on to the upper turn. Call Me Fitz is the one to catch. 2:39 and 1 was the mile and a quarter. It's Call Me Fitz by 3/4 of a length. Island Link coming to the outside now, trying to close in second. Sonny Mac third. Miss Ruby Mac fanning out 3 wide fourth. Here they come through the lane for the final time. Call Me Fitz. Island Link on the outside is forging to the top. Island Link will get up to win the Pepsi Series final. Finishing second is Call Me Fitz. Third is Miss Ruby Mac.
The next leg closure event to take place at Truro Raceway will be the Owens Brewery Series for 3-year-olds. Doug Harkness checked in with race secretary Joe Kelly to see what type of response the series has drawn.
Joe Kelly, the Pepsi Endurance Series attracted a good number of starters and very competitive field. How's the 3-year-old series shaping up?
Pretty good. I'm quite pleased with the nominations we've got so far, Doug. We received 21 nominations, and of them 21, we've got what looks like to be a pretty competitive field. There doesn't look like to be any standout or layover in the field.
I noticed from the list that you sent us along that there's some nice horses in it, like Cat Scooter, who won the division of the Donnie Turner, Garvin's Playboy, racing in the top class in Charlottetown. It gives these horses a little chance to make some money who actually haven't made $7,500 this year.
Well, that's the idea of the series, to keep some of the 3-year-olds racing late into the year, and some of them that didn't have quite a bit much success on the year. Of course, they didn't win $7,500 in '94 up to October 15th, so it gives them a chance to race for an added purse money event at the end of the year.
Some horses that seem to come on, like the horse, the filly out of Cape Breton, who won the Open Mare's first twist, is in the series.
She was nominated to the series. I understand her last start, though, she was injured, so she may be a question mark as to whether she makes the second payment. We do have some nice 3-year-olds in the field. Of course, there's a couple out of Phil Pinkney's barn, Love You Later, who's competed in the 1251 class pretty well all year. He looks like he might be one of the better ones in the series. Of course, Rolo Bay Fighter, who had an outstanding 2-year-old year, didn't get on track or didn't get to the races until late this year, so missed most of the stake action. So this series fits in quite nicely. We have Ari's Brandon out of Cape Breton, who was purchased here by Gerald Rogers in Truro. He won in sub-2-minute speed here at Truro. He looks like he fits the series quite nicely as well. Master Cam, who raced, who had a stint down in the United States, but wasn't too successful down there, came back here and looks like he's back in form. We have Radiant Herods. George McLean owns and drives this 3-year-old. He seemed to be off there for a while, but he's back on track. He just won 2 in a row in 2 minutes. Jacob Tutu, who's competed on the stakes trail all year out of St. John, he's paid up. Garvin's Playboy, who seems to be enjoying quite a successful year, turned right around from when he raced here in Truro, and now I understand he's racing in the top class over in Charlottetown. And like as you mentioned, Cat Scooter, a winner of the division of the stake here in Truro in the Lofty Hardy. So it's rounding into quite a competitive field.
Think you'll have enough for 2 divisions?
It looks like we have 21 nominated, so you know, as long as we get, looks like we should get 16 out of this, making the second payment, which would give us 2 divisions.
Good. Thanks very much, Joe Kelly.
Thanks, Doug.
Until recently, Dave Carey was the leading dash winner in the region with 115 wins. A recent accident at Truro Raceway sidelined the popular driver. Doug Harkness talked with him about harness racing safety.
Well, Dave Carey, you're on the sidelines in a year that looked like you might very well end up as the top maritime dash winner. It must be disappointing.
Yeah, it is. Like, fellow doesn't get in that position. It would have been nice to win it, but we I kind of fell into the chance to win through Stevie Mahar going away. So I guess maybe what comes around goes around, huh?
Yeah. But certainly you were the leading dash winner in Truro at the time with 108, and still are at this moment. And you were having a good season, and your stock seemed to be racing well right through the year.
Yeah, we had a good, consistent year this year. I tend a lot of times to have a good winter, and then things bottom out a bit in the summer. But this year we stayed a little more competitive all through the year, and it helped. Like basically most of the time I raced raceway horses mostly, and when the young horses are coming up through the classes in the summer, it makes it a little tougher for my stock. But this year it wasn't quite so bad. So, but it was disappointing to have it happen now.
Dave, it was certainly a spectacular type accident. Just what happened? Can you kind of set the scene for us?
Well, it was a stretch drive, and Danny O'Brien's mare was coming out across the track looking for room, and just as he was lined up with the horse that was in front of him, he jumped. And he went over his wheel, and I was behind him, and I went over his wheel. It was just a chain reaction. There really wasn't a whole lot of time to do anything about it. It was there, and you were gone. It's just one of them things. A fraction of a second later, I think everybody would have been clear. Danny'd have been clear, and I'd have had room to go to the inside, and just one of those things. Horse racing, I guess.
You took quite a tumble, and I guess a chip bone in your arm. You're going to be out for how long?
I don't know really how long. It's a broken bone. It's just a small bone in my elbow. Like my arm and hands were bruised up pretty good. I really don't know how long. I was up to the doctor the other day, and he said before I got full movement in my hand, I'd probably be 12 weeks. But I don't think it'll take that long to get back to work. But I expect it's going to be, close to a month maybe.
I know, Dave, when we have these accidents, and we had 2 in a row, back-to-back races, your race and the first one on a Sunday card, sometimes we look for reasons for it. Is there any way that we can improve the safety of it, or it's a dangerous sport, isn't it?
Well, any sport where you're going 30 miles an hour with no protection, it's bound to be dangerous to a certain point. But I don't know what we can do. All the time they're doing things to try and make it safer. I mean, a few years ago they took the hub rail out, which was the biggest thing they've done in decades. If you remember back when they put wheel disc on, that was because of the safety factor. And there's a lot of other things you can do, but somewheres along the line it's going to happen. You have horses that make breaks, things that happen, and there's only so much you can do. It's not much different than any other sport. Really, car racing, they do everything they can. There's still accidents.
And I guess like in everything else, when you're going at that speed and you have to make split-second decisions, whether you leave the hole, whether you stay in it, that human error is also a factor that I guess it's going to always be.
Oh, definitely. Like anytime you're not using a computer, you got human error, and people make mistakes. I've made a number over the years myself. I'd like not to have made, but it's going to happen. There's nothing you can do to stop that. Human error is just a fact of life in anything you do. Same as driving a car along the highway. Most accidents are human errors. So.
I ask you this question: when you've had a number of spills in your career and some tough ones, does it ever bother you when you start to get back on? Do you think about it?
Oh, you might think about it when you're getting on, but you don't usually think of it when you get out there. If you do, you shouldn't be there. If you start having second thoughts, I'm a great believer in that if you start having second thoughts, you shouldn't be there, because then you do make mistakes. You start things like that. But no, they just seem to be a little harder every time I go down, that's all. Like age is catching up with me, I think.
Well, Dave, we look forward to seeing you back up, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
West River Diesel, a 4-year-old Maritime-bred pacer, is ending this season as one of the top pacers in the Maritimes. Diesel has been unbeatable in recent starts. Here again is Doug Harkness.
Well, Joe Kennedy, who is one of the syndicate known as the Turbo Racing Stables, the people who own West River Diesel, the 4-year-old Harrods gelding, who's raced so well this year in the Maritimes, joked in the Winner's Circle a couple of weeks ago that he'd like to see the Gold Cup and Saucer race held in November or October. It seems that West River Diesel gets better as the season progressed. This time last year, he was probably the top pacer in the Maritime scene, and again this year, the 4-year-old Maritime bred has emerged to be the horse to beat in the preferred class at Truro Raceway. He had reeled off 3 straight wins, and including in those victories were a couple over the world champion Chatham Light. The last start for Chatham Light at Truro Raceway will be coming up. Romeo Boucher, his owner, has decided to give Chatham Light a well-deserved rest after earning over $20,000 this year. But now we go to the action at the preferred class at Truro Raceway with West River Diesel, Chatham Light, Almahurst Bucky, all going for honors. But here's Joe Kelly for the call.
They're off and pacing. Stone Riggs Kid off the gate quickly, looking for the lead against Pocketful of Gold and Escort Save. Almahurst Bucky up on the far outside, caught 3 wide fourth. They head by the opening 8th on their way down the backstretch. Stone Riggs Kid has quickly taken charge, hustling up on the outside. Chatham Light in along the rail and racing away third. Pocket Full of Gold coming away fourth. Escort Abe. Rufford's Cashback has 5. West River Diesel in 6. Burnin and Elmhurst Bucky. They move past the quarter. Chatham Light is your leader. He has the field by 1 length. Stone Riggs Kid is the tied up second. Pocket Full of Gold takes a look in 3. Holding down the 4th spot in the early going is Escort Abe. Rufford's Cashback has 5. There goes West River Diesel up on the outside from 6. 28 2/5 seconds was the opening quarter. They move off the top turn and approach the half. They're led by Chatham Light. 1 length on Stone Riggs Kid. Pocket Full of Gold eyes the outside third. In along the rail, racing fourth is Escort Abe. West River Diesel now picks up cover on the limb in 5. Rufford's Cashback has 6, followed by Elmhurst Bucky 7. And at the back of the field is Burnin. They were past the half in 58 3/5 seconds. They straighten out down the backstretch for the final time. It's still Chatham Light maintaining an advantage of only 1 length. On the outside is Pocket Full of Gold. In along the rail, locked in Stone Riggs Kid. West River Diesel is coming 3 wide fourth. They race on to the top turn. West River Diesel out there 3 wide. Drives on by now. Chatham Light at the rail is now second. In along the rail, third. Stone Riggs Kid. Pocket Full of Gold is fourth. 1/8 to come. 1:29 1 3/4. West River Diesel has taken over and draws out to 3 lengths. Chatham Light will try to hang on to the place spot. Stone Riggs Kid is third. Through the lane for the final time. West River Diesel will win it. Chatham Light finishing second. Stone Riggs Kid third.
That's Keeping Pace for this week. We'd like to hear from you. If we use your story idea on the air, we'll send you an official Keeping Pace.
Truro Raceway, Canada's fastest half-mile track, is proud to sponsor Keeping Pace. Post times at Truro Raceway are Thursdays at 7 p.m. and Sundays at 1:30 p.m. Truro Raceway, on the exhibition grounds in Bible Hill.
Hello, I'm Dwayne Geldart, and welcome to Keeping Pace. On today's show, we'll have coverage of the second leg of the $2,000 Claimer Series. We'll talk with Ted Andrews, Director of Racing for the Maritimes, and we'll have our weekly features. But first, here's Doug Harkness with a recap of the recent USTA convention.
The District 10 convention, which was held at Ketty's Motor Inn in Truro, was one of the best attended in years, with some 200 gathering for the awards banquet on the Saturday night, which honored the top performers of the 1994 season. Truro Raceway was the host track for the convention, and the awards banquet was attended by municipal, provincial, and federal elected officials. The USTA paid special recognition to longtime horseman Clayton McLeod of Truro and had a special citation for Glace Bay horse owner Tom McPherson. The 1994 Horse of the Year award went to West River Exotic, owned by Claire McDonald of Antigonish. He set 3 all-age trot records during the season and was a Triple Crown Stakes winner in the region. Dave Carey of Truro was the leading dash winner in the Maritimes with 125 victories. The Atlantic Sire Stakes also honored its top performers. West River Exotic was the 3-year-old trot champion. Guy on the Go, a son of Willowbird Stand-Up DB, co-owned by Russell Burgoyne, and Sandy Frazier was the top 3-year-old pacing colt, earning $60,000 on the year. 3-year-old pacing filly honors went to First Quest, a daughter of Stargaze Hanover, who was campaigned by Rod Jameson for owner Earl Fram and breeder of the First Horse Farm of Moncton. The 2-year-old trotter of the year was Maggie Hill, owned by Sean McIsaac of Cornwall PEI. And 2-year-old pacing filly honors, of course, went to Charlotte's Brett, the Denman filly, owned by Tom McPherson of Glace Bay and campaigned by Earl Smith.
Keeping Pace and Page Chevold, Central Nova Scotia's largest GM truck dealer, are proud to offer official Keeping Pace t-shirts. If you send us a story idea and we use it on the air, we'll send you one. So forward your ideas to Keeping Pace, care of Eastern Cable, Channel 4, 69 Walker Street, Truro, Nova Scotia, B2N 4A8. Official Keeping Pace t-shirts are only available through this offer. The Maritime Harness Racing Commission announced at the USTA meetings that effective April 1st, all horsemen at maritime racetracks will be under the USTA umbrella. Doug Harkness talked with Ted Andrews about the decision.
Ted Andrews, At the USTA annual banquet, an announcement regarding the jurisdictional issue. Would you mind explaining it to us?
Yes, as you know, one of the mandates of the new Maritime Provinces Harness Racing Commission was to resolve the issue regarding the licensing and recording bodies vis-a-vis the CTA and the USTA jurisdictions, and a decision was reached yesterday at a commission meeting after a lot of review and analysis that effective April the 1st of 1995, all racetracks under the control and guidance of the Maritime Provinces Harness Racing Commission will be required to be licensed and operated under the USTA.
Okay, that raises the question, what's the CTA feel about this? Have you advised them?
Yes, I discussed the situation with Tom Gorman, the general manager of the Canadian Trotting Association, and while he was disappointed, I'm sure he had hoped that perhaps it would go the other way. He understood that it was probably in the best interest of all the horsemen and horse owners that we do it under one umbrella. And so wished us all the best, and I'll be coordinating with him the transition through the two racetracks, and hopefully we'll have no hitches.
Okay, any reaction from Exhibition Park Raceway or Fredericton?
Fredericton, I talked to the general manager there, and he said fine, he has no problems with it and doesn't anticipate there being any difficulties with any of the horsemen with regard to it. They're probably relieved to find that it's now going to be effective under one jurisdiction. As far as Exhibition Park Raceway, unfortunately there is no representation here today from them, and I will be contacting them the first thing in the morning to advise them of the situation.
Ted, was there any one particular reason, or I know it's been an issue that's been came well before your commission was established. Was there any one particular reason why they would lean towards the USTA rather than the CTA?
No single item. As you know, we analyzed it from a financial point of view. We analyzed it from a membership point of view, advantages and disadvantages of Prince Edward Island or Nova Scotia horsemen racing over there once in a stake race. The USTA have upgraded their computer systems so that they are very efficient, and there's a long life of membership in the USTA because obviously one of the founding fathers is from this region, and so a lot of variables, but I think it was a justifiable decision without question.
Hey, Ted, if we can switch to another topic that arose on the USTA District 10 annual meetings. You had a very good seminar in which you explained the role of the commission. I also understand there was a meeting regarding the, I will call it the Atlantic Satellite Network for harness racing. How far has that progressed?
That's progressed quite well, actually. I first introduced it to the track owners in November 15th when we reviewed the 1995 race dates. I feel it is the most realistic vehicle to go with all of the simulcasting intertracking that's going to be coming forth. We have elected a special subcommittee. We will be meeting tomorrow afternoon to establish a program so that hopefully within 6 months we will be have the organization in place so that we will be able to set up a joint venture corporation.
I know the Maritime Provinces Harness Racing Commission is basically, as the name suggests, it's Maritime Provinces, but I understand also there might be a Newfoundland component in this.
There's a Newfoundland component in the committee based only on the fact that I think they would like to have some of the intertracking going to their racetrack in St. John's. Unfortunately, at this point in time, Newfoundland is not able to join the Maritime Provinces Harness Racing Commission because we are an agency or commission of the Council of Maritime Premiers, and obviously Newfoundland would have to be a component of that before we would have to be able to take them on.
But nevertheless, you're still kind of welcoming the Newfoundland involvement in the thing.
Oh yes, of course. I mean, we like to have their involvement, and we'll do everything we can to support them and help them in their needs.
Yeah, it's been a busy first calendar year for you, and as you enter 1995. But since we last talked to you, there's been a decision made regarding the casino operators in Nova Scotia, and how does the Maritime Racing Commission fit into that?
Well, we have met prior to the proposal submission with the Sheraton representatives. We received a very good meeting with them and received a lot of support. I think that we're in a very good position at this point in time. They are currently away out of town, but I hope to be meeting with them by the end of January to examine their long-term objectives and goals and to further reinforce our wishes to be part of their program.
1995 is underway now, Ted. Can I ask you, to sum it up briefly, what kind of a year are we looking for in maritime racing?
I think we're going to find a much better year for the horsemen and the horse owners, a more open and acceptable program, and I think that the decline is over, and I see that we're going to be going forward.
Thanks for sharing your thoughts with us tonight.
Thank you very much, Doug.
Horses move up and down the class ladder all the time, and do so for a number of reasons. When a horse is performing at his peak, the trainer will move him up in class to take advantage of his hot streak in order to earn more purse money. When a horse is performing below par, he can sometimes still earn his share of purses when the trainer moves him down the ladder to face easier competition. In either case, the handicapper must determine how the move up or down will affect the horse's chances of winning tonight. Now, as a rule, horses dropping down have an advantage in any race. But since these changes in class are also related to how well a horse has been racing, a horse showing bad form may not improve simply by dropping down. Horses moving up in class, too, are at a slight disadvantage over horses in the higher class, and they usually don't do as well. But a hot horse or a young horse that hasn't yet established his class will still be able to race well. If all other handicapping factors are equal, give the horse dropping down in class an extra point or two.
When he arrived in the Maritimes, Boone and Crockett had some impressive credentials. With a mark of 153 and career earnings of $263,000, he was expected to become a popular stallion in the region. But with his popularity in the stud ranks declining, he has returned to racing. Doug talked with his handlers.
Well, Trevor Shives, we got on the guidelines a pretty classy racehorse here in Boone and Crockett.
Yeah, he's a good old horse. He was pretty good when he was younger. He hasn't been racing for a long time. We tried him in the stallion ranks, and he had a few half-decent horses, but he didn't fare too well, so just having some fun with him now, getting him back in shape.
Of course, among his offspring, of course, was Jasper Moon, and he was our best 2-year-old last year, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was pretty good, yeah. He was one of the better ones. There's a few that weren't so good, though, so that's why I'm fooling with him anyways.
This horse hasn't raced for, what, 5 years, Trevor?
Yeah, it's been 6 years, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, he was racing at the Meadowlands last year race anyway. So.
Had a very nice record, a lot of career earnings. Tell us what kind of program did you use to sort of get him back where he is now?
Oh, I had him in the paddock a lot, and he was kind of stayed in shape that way, running back and forth. There's a few mares in the other field there, and he was trying to get in there, so he was running up and down the field, and he kind of stayed in pretty good shape anyways. And then I just started fooling with him because he wasn't getting any mares to breed, so I said, might as well, fool with him a little bit. I was having some fun with him anyway, so.
You started back training him when?
It's only been about 3 months now. I got into him, but had hurt his leg there a month and a half ago and kind of sored up a little bit, but he's back now. It's pretty tight and it looks okay, so kind of got him back a little quick. He's not not very tight right now, so we'll see how he is anyway.
Well, certainly when we see horses like Harriator at 13 winning and Western Miracle at age 12, she's just a junior to those fellows. Yeah. Is he sort of a classy horse when you're behind the lines with him?
Oh, yeah. He's a lot of fun to train, Yeah, it's a powerful horse, powerful hind end on him, and I just have a lot of fun with him. Yeah.
Nice manners for a stallion.
Oh, yeah, he's got good manners. A lot of them are knocking his offspring for their manners, but he's pretty good. I don't know where they get that from him anyway, so.
Well, we want to wish you the best with him and have some fun with him.
Great, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
It's time for our feature on races from the past. Tonight's race was the United Way Pace from Truro Raceway in 1989. Here's the track announcer with the call.
They are off and pacing, leaving the gate quickly is Expo Extra along with Chow Meantime, and off the rail RB's Laura. 3 deep into the first turn, followed by Sissis Marnie out fourth. Fifth in the early going is Comicood Grey Cloud. Radiant Night has 6, Crystal Skipper. And the early trailer is Glencoe Bell onto the backstretch. They go for the first time. And Chow Meantime moves up in the passing lane to take over the top. Expo Extra races second. Third along the fence is RB's Laura. In the 4th spot in the early going, Sissis Marnie. Comicood Grey Cloud is sitting in 5th. From 6th is Radiant Night. Crystal Skipper has 7. And treading the field onto the upper turn is Glencoe Bell. They were by the opening quarter in 31 seconds as they move single file past the 3/8. Chow Meantime is the pace setter by 1 length. Expo Extra sits in the garden spot. RB's Laura 3rd. Up on the outside, here comes Sissis Marnie moving first over. Following that move is Comicood Grey Cloud. And in along the fence, Radiant Night, Crystal Skipper, and Glencoe Bell. They move past the half as they continue into the paddock turn. It's Chow Meantime out front by 1 length. Expo Extra getting a good journey second. Outside, Sissis Marnie is pacing 3rd. Locked in now 4th at the rail is RB's Laura. Second over on the outside as they continue on to the backstretch. Comicood Grey Cloud, then Radiant Night, Crystal Skipper, and Glencoe Bell. The half at 1:02 and 4/5 down the backstretch as they approach 3/4. Chow Meantime is still the leader by 1 length. Expo Extra second. Outside, Sissis Marnie is pacing 3rd. Comicood Grey Cloud well spotted in the passing lane from 4. Down along the fence 5th, and nowhere to go RB's Laura, followed by Crystal Skipper, Radiant Night, and Glencoe Bell. 1:33 and 3/5 to 3/4 off the top turn, less than an eighth to come. And Chow Meantime is still there by a length. Sissis Marnie in along the fence. Expo Extra, they straighten out for the payoff. And Chow Meantime leads them on home. On the outside, Sissis Marnie. Off stride, Comicood Grey Cloud. It's going to be Chow Meantime winning it. It's close between Sissis Marnie and Expo Extra for second.
Sunset Colin arrived in the maritime racing scene last year following a 154-4 victory in Ontario. Purchased by Boyd McDonald, Sunset Colin did not live up to his reputation. And now he's back racing again and has shown he might be a contender. Doug Harkness talks with his trainer.
Well, Everett Lowther, over the years you've had some nice horses you trained for Boyd McDonald, have you not?
Yes, that's right. Well, start with Worthy Gift, I guess, was a good one. Full Flight. There was Double Command. Oh, there's been some nice ones.
And that big horse Wanger Road was a great one.
Yes. Yeah, he was a decent horse. Yeah. He got off the gate good. He was a big horse. Big horse. I think he wore about a 62-inch hobble. We didn't get to race him a lot. He got into some trouble there in town, and he choked off, and as you know, he had to be put down. I guess he died instantly that time.
But Boyd, there's been nobody gamer in buying horses for maritime racing scene.
I guess there hasn't. He's tough.
So now let's come to Sunset Colin. He was a horse that you got last year, basically your Gold Cup and Saucer horse. Came down here with very, very impressive credentials and kind of disappointed. Did you find out maybe the trouble?
Yeah, he had a paralyzed flap. So we had to have an operation done on him, and he seems good so far. Hopefully he'll keep improving.
I know he's won a couple of races already this year, and he's a classy horse.
Yes, he is. Yeah, he can get off the gate good, and he's finishing better now too. I didn't have a whole lot of work in him when I started him, and he's starting to get a little tighter now, and hopefully he'll take the job that he's supposed to do.
Everett, for a race fan, if you talk about a flapper, it sort of stops the horse from breathing, does it not?
It stops the horse from breathing. They they don't get all their oxygen, and it usually happens about the 3/4 pole, and basically just shuts off half their air, and that's what was happening with him.
What kind of operation would you have to cure this?
Well, they go in through their under here, and they cut off a chunk of skin so that the flap will open and shut.
Tell me, what kind of a horse is this mannerism-wise and speed off the gate? Is it a nice horse?
He's perfect. He gets a little rank waiting for the gate, but once you're behind the gate, perfect, and you can take him back. Easy to control.
Well, we're certainly glad to see him here at the Truro Raceway. He adds to our program every night. And will this horse be a free-for-all horse, in your opinion, in '95?
I hope so, Doug. I certainly hope so.
We want to wish you the best with Sunset Colin, and maybe he'll be the Gold Cup and Saucer horse we're looking for.
Maybe. Thank you.
All the best with him.
The second leg of the $2,000 claiming series at Truro Raceway was held on their January 22nd card. Here's Doug Harkness to set the scene.
Well, Dave Carey, the leading dash-winning driver at Truro Raceway in 1994, dominated the first leg of the $2,000 claiming series when he won 2 of the 3 events. And in the first leg last Sunday, the second leg of the series, he had Reactor Nucleaire from post 3, and this horse was favored. He's been a tough $2,000 claimer for most of last year, and once again was favored to win this one. Township Cassandra was on the rail, Daystar Elmhurst with Leslie Parker from 2, then Reactor Nucleaire, Ecology GB from 4, Eagle When She Flies from 5, Keenson, who won impressively the night before on Thursday, was from post 6, and Pullover from 7. Here's Joe Kelly with the call.
They're off, and pacing. Ecology GB is off the gate first, looking for the lead. Township Cassandra moving out at the rail is second. Daystar Elmhurst settles in third. Getting away racing in 4 is Eagle When She Flies, settling in 5. As they move by, the 8th is Reactor Nucleaire, followed in 6 by Keenson, and Pullover is 7th and trailing. Seating arrangements are complete as they move through the backstretch for the first time. Out front, Ecology GB showing the way by 1 length over a pocket-sitting Township Cassandra. Daystar Elmhurst tied up third. There goes Reactor Nucleaire. To the outside, racing in 4. They were past the quarter in 31 seconds flat. They make their way midway through the upper turn. Ecology GB dictating the pace. Reactor Nucleaire hustling up on the outside to give chase second. At the rail, Township Cassandra is locked in the pocket third. Keenson getting a second over. Trip racing in 4. At the rail, Daystar Elmhurst shuffle back and locked in 5. Outside, Pullover from 6, and now 7th and trailing is Eagle When She Flies. They move past the halfway point, continuing into the lower turn. Out front, Ecology GB continues to chart the path. Reactor Nucleaire sitting on the outside, first over second. At the rail, third. That is Township Cassandra. Well spotted, and getting a second over Trip is Keenson racing in 4. Still hemmed in at the rail in 5 is Daystar Elmhurst. Third over 6 is Pullover, and Eagle When She Flies trails. 1:03 was the half. They approach 3/4. They're in pursuit of Ecology GB. Still there by half a length. Reactor Nucleaire outside is giving chase second. Township Cassandra at the rail third. Keenson looking to come 3 wide fourth. They race on past the 7/8. 3/4 in 1:34. And 1/5 second, Ecology GB by a length and a half. Township Cassandra reclaiming second. Third on the outside is Reactor Nucleaire. 3 wide, Keenson fourth. They make the final turn with Ecology GB still in charge. Township Cassandra going into the passing lane. Reactor Nucleaire up on the outside, coming back on. Reactor Nucleaire coming back on to win it. It's close between Ecology GB and Township Cassandra for second.
Well, the second leg of the second division of the 2000 claiming series had one new face. Jericho Knock, owned by Norman Hall of Charlottetown, was in for his first start in the series, leaving from post number 6. Franny's Kid was back from St. John, drawing post 7 and hoping to improve on his summary the week before. Post 7, however, tough in this field. Calavetter Ideal from the rail, Ciravan de Nouvelle from post 2, Zachary Collins left from 3. Clonmel Tyson, a horse who's come here from Sydney, has been a steady performer from 4 and the favorite in this race, and then MD Waverly with Dave Carey. Here's Joe Kelly with the call, our second division, second leg of the 2000 claiming series.
They are off and pacing. Clonmel Tyson is first off the gate, grabbing the lead. Hustled out MD Waverly second. Calavretta Ideal at the rail comes away third, followed by Cyrano de Naval fourth. Up on the limb, Franny's Kid racing in 5. Getting away racing in 6. As they head by the opening 8th, and Zachary Collins, and 7th and trailing the field is Jericho Knock. They race down the backside on their way to the opening quarter. Driving up on the outside to take charge is Clonmel Tyson. Up on the limb, Franny's Kid is parked out second. MD Waverly at the rail third. On the outside and on the move is Cyrano de Naval racing fourth. In along the rail in 5 is Calavretta Ideal. Looking to the outside, Zachary Collins in 6. And still at the back of the field is number 6, Jericho Knock. 30 1/5 second was the opening panel. They race off the top turn and approach the halfway point. They're still led up front by Clonmel Tyson. 1 length on MD Waverly. Coming 3 wide is Cyrano de Naval third. In the center, 4th is Franny's Kid. Going 3 wide in 5 is Zachary Collins. They race into the turn. On their way over to the 5/8, the half in 1:01 and 1/5 second. Clonmel Tyson still there by a length and a half. On the outside, Cyrano de Laval is giving chase second, locked in third, MD Waverly. Calavretta Ideal is taking a look at a 4 on the limb. Zachary Collins has 5, Jericho Knox 6, and Franny's Kid is now trailing. As they approach 3/4, Clonmel Tyson is still the boss by 3 parts of a length. Cyrano de Laval on the outside, second, MD Waverly. Getting a golden trip at the rail, third. Outside is Zachary Collins within striking range, fourth. In along the rail is Calavretta Ideal from 5. Then Jericho Knock and Franny's Kid. 3/4 in 1:32 and 2. Clonmel Tyson opens up now to 2.5 lengths. MD Waverly is giving chase second. Calavretta Ideal now third. Through the lane for the final time. Clonmel Tyson will draw off to win it. MD Waverly will finish second. Third is Calavretta Ideal.
Well, in the first leg of the claiming series, there was one claim. A horse by the name of Nichols Cole was claimed by Breton White of Kennecook, making a start in the second leg under new ownership, and with young Kevin Pinckney driving. Nichols Cole left from post 6, didn't have much play from the fans. In fact, was sent away as a long shot, Nichols Cole. In this event, Cadet's Image from the rail was one of the favorites, along with Clonmel Classic from post 2, Giant Maverick leaving 3, PH Terminator, who won in the first leg, for Dave Carey from 4, Charlotte's Amy, leaving from post 5, then Nichols Cole and Goals Prince. Here now is Joe Kelly with the call, third leg of the second division $2,000 claiming series at Truro Raceway.
They're off and pacing at the rail. Cadet's Image away to grab the early lead. Charlotte's Amy hustling out second. Getting away at the rail third is Clonmel Classic. In along the rail, Giant Maverick gets away racing in 4. Next in line 5, that's PH Terminator. Taking a look from 6 in the early going, Nichols Cole, and 7th and trailing is Goal Prince. They move up the backstretch on their way to the opening quarter. On top, Cadet's Image by a length and a half. Giving chase second is Clonmel Classic. Charlotte's Amy finds the gap third. Giant Maverick holds down 4, campaigning the rail 5. That's PH Terminator. Nichols Cole with only 1 horse beaten in Goal Prince. As they race on to the 3/8, 29 and 3 was the opening quarter. No change. Single file as they head off the top turn, still led by Cadet's Image. Clonmel Classic getting a golden trip second, looking to the outside. Charlotte's Amy third, followed by Giant Maverick 4. PH Terminator still at the rail racing in 5, then Nichols Cole and Goal Prince. They check in at the halfway point. Cadet's Image still the boss by 1. Charlotte's Amy coming first over. On the inside, Clonmel Classic is hemmed in the pocket third. Getting a second over trip fourth is Giant Maverick. PH Terminator is caught in along the rail in 5/6 on the outside as they head down the backstretch. Nichols Cole, and remaining at the back of the field is Goal Prince, the half at 1:01 and 3/5 seconds. They continue on to 3/4. Charlotte's Amy on the outside is forging to the top. Cadet's Image along the inside is now second. 3 wide is Nichols Cole third. Looking to squeeze out fourth is Clonmel Classic. They race on to the top turn, and driving up now to take over is Nichols Cole. Charlotte's Amy is racing second. Cadet's Image third. Clonmel Classic fourth. 3 wide Giant Maverick in 5. 4 deep is Goal Prince in 6. Off the turn, 1:33 of the 3/4. They straighten out through the lane for the final time. Nichols Cole is clear by 5. Charlotte's Amy trying to hold on to the play spot. Up on the far outside is Goal Prince. Through the lane, it's all Nichols Cole, an easy winner. The battle is for place. Finishing second is Charlotte's Amy, third PH Terminator.
It took 100 years for Truro Raceway to record its first sub-2-minute mile, but since then they've been coming in bunches. The first sub-2-minute effort in 1995 was recorded on their January 8th card when Robert Laffin drove Escort's Abe.
They're midway down the backside for time 1. Escort's Abe, the leader, by 1 length. Giving chase in the pocket. That's May Contain. Next in line, Cindy Ella is third. Musco Joe takes a look to the outside fourth. MD Mitty is pacing in 5. Outside and traveling in 6 as they make their way by the 3/8 is Downwind Levy, then Norwell, Lily Harbor, and Harbor Sun. 30 seconds flat the opening quarter. They head off the top turn and approach the halfway point. Out front, they're led by Escort's Abe, a 1-length lead. Cinderella on the outside is first up, racing second. In along the rail third is May Contain. Spotted second over fourth as they dip into the turn. That's Musco Joe. MD Mitty staying at the rail in 5. Sixth, and looking to the outside is Norwell, Lily Harbor. At the rail racing in 7. That's Harbour Sun, and trailing the field on down the backstretch. That's Downwind Libby. They move on to the three-quarters, the half in 1 minute flat. Out front, Escort Save is still leading by 1. May Contain getting a perfect trip, racing second. Stalled on the outside is Cindy Ella third, and along the rail, MD Mitty needs racing room fourth, going 3 wide. Around the stall, Cindy Ella is Musco Joe. They race on to the 7/8, 1:30 to three-quarters. They're all in pursuit of Escort Save as they make the final turn. He's there by 2 lengths. May Contain second. MD Mitty is racing third. Here they come down the lane. Final time. Escort Save, May Contain. MD Mitty is third. It will be Escort Save winning it. Second is May Contain. MD Mitty will finish third.
That's Keeping Pace for this week. We'd like to hear from you. If we use your story idea on the air, we'll send you an official Keeping Pace t-shirt. So send your story ideas to...
Truro Raceway, Canada's fastest half-mile track, is proud to sponsor Keeping Pace. Post times at Truro Raceway are Thursdays at 7 p.m. and Sundays at 1:30 p.m. Truro Raceway, on the exhibition grounds in Bible Hill.
Hello, I'm Dwayne Geldart, and welcome to Keeping Pace. On today's show, we'll have coverage of the third leg of the $2,000 claiming series. We'll talk with John Pavlock, Director of Promotions for the USTA, and we'll meet Wayne Haffey, a Newfoundland native who recently moved his stable to Truro Raceway. But first, here's Doug Harkness with a special report.
Well, you'd never know that the Canadian dollar was trading at a 10-year low at the Meadowlands mix sale on January 23rd. Canadians spent $1.2 million buying horses at that sale, a sale where the sales volume was something like $6 million. Some maritime connections in the sale. Dexter Jane, a daughter of Paris Dexter, bred by Winston Taylor of Cornwall, PEI, sold at the sale for $34,000 American. She was consigned by Russ Doyle of Sydney, who campaigned her as a 2- and 3-year-old when she earned $100,000 in her 2 years of stakes racing. Dexter Jane, who took a 1:58 record at Truro Raceway in Atlantic Sire Stakes action, was a repeat winner last year in the Dairy Queen Futurity, winning that event at 2 at Charlottetown and at 3 at Truro when she paced in 1:58 and 2 to beat CL Social World. Dexter's Jane, selling to Pennsylvania Interest, also in the sale, Johnny Conroy winner Reggie, which was driven by Ian Moore when he won the race at Truro last year, sold for $18,500. He had been consigned to the sale by Dr. Ian Moore and Tom Clark of Charlottetown. General's Gate was also consigned to the sale, but the third-place finisher in last year's Gold Cup and Saucer was withdrawn because of illness. This is Doug Harkness reporting for Keeping Pace.
Keeping Pace and Pie Chevolds, Central Nova Scotia's largest GM truck dealer, are proud to offer official Keeping Pace t-shirts. If you send us a story idea and we use it on the air, we'll send you one. So forward your ideas to Keeping Pace, care of Eastern Cable, Channel 4, 69 Walker Street, Truro, Nova Scotia, B2N 4A8. Official Keeping Pace t-shirts are only available through this offer. The Atlantic Sire Stakes program is administered by the Atlantic Standardbred Breeders Association with Jack Ferguson as manager. We asked Jack about the 1995 season.
Well, Jack Ferguson, as we anxiously await the start of the Atlantic Sire Stakes, the good news is that the purse funds for the Atlantic Sire Stakes are going to stay pretty well the same.
Yes, we've got a solid commitment from the 3 maritime provinces to back the Sire Stakes for 5 years on the same basis they have the last 2 years, 3 years, I guess. And so we're solid now till the year 2000. We've got a good base to operate the Sire Stakes on.
Jack, roughly about $600,000 a year in purse money?
A little over $600,000 we put out, yeah.
Jack, I also noticed at the dates meeting that dates were allocated for Tartan Downs and Sydney, although the track's future is still precarious, but the dates were allocated.
Yeah, it's up in the air, and, you know, it was, well, of course, we want to do everything we can to show that we want to race there, and it would just be out of the question to assign dates to all the other tracks and not consider Sydney and then bring Sydney in if they operate it, and we hope they do operate. So the dates are there, and hopefully we'll be racing them there.
Have you got a plan B in the event that something happens they don't race?
No, we'll hope that they do race. If anything happens that they don't, we'll just have to take a look then, the directors, to make a decision on what direction we go then.
But we're still talking about the same pool of money anyway, around 600,000.
Yeah, we're talking the same pool of money. You know, two things that we could do right off the top of my head would be to operate the dates at some other racetrack, or we could shrink the program a little and go, you know, 5 tracks instead of 6. But I think it would be better to go the dates because we get, you know, more exposure, more money turned over, and I think that's likely the way we would go.
Big year for the Atlantic Sire Stakes again in 1994. We saw our first sub-2-minute trot mile, our only Sire Stakes record. That kind of brings things down where it's going to be awful tough to set a Sire Stakes record, Jack, in the future.
Yes, it is. You know, the 3-year-old pacers, both of them are around 56. The 2-year-olds, I think they can chew away a little at it yet, and, you know, but you never really know where the next great one is going to come from.
All indications the Maritime Breds are being well accepted. West River Exotic taking a new mark at Woodbine last week, 59, and Dexter's Jane, one-year graduate, selling for 34,000 American, a nice price.
Yeah. You know, there's horses being raised in the Maritimes that are competitive any place in the world. The OJC and when you sell it in New Jersey, you don't have to be ashamed of them.
Do you think that the Maritime bred products are now sort of marketable, a bigger market for them?
Oh, yes, I think so. We're getting known a little bit better, and there's some connections being made. And, you know, we're getting the speed and putting the lines on their papers that you can sell a horse with.
Jack, I know your stallion registration date is fast approaching. I understand more new bud coming in the stallion barns.
Yes, I think there's perhaps, off the top of my head, likely a half a dozen new ones. And, of course, some of the old ones will be gone, but, you know, we still, there's still people that are brave and people that are interested, and that's what keeps things going.
Jack, it's amazing, the decline in the business, but you breeders keep putting out product, and somehow the numbers continue to stay up.
Yeah, you know, everybody else is kind of crying gloom and doom. It's only a state of mind. You know, you might as well smile and go at it, and things will turn out.
Well, Jack, thanks very much for sharing your thoughts with us. We'll probably catch up to you before the Sire Stakes bell gets ready to ring.
Sure, thank you very much.
For those of you who enjoy making a wager on a race, here's today's USTA handicapping tip.
When horses move up or down in class, or from one type of class to another, the size of the purse is a good general indicator of how a horse might do tonight. At any track, the better classes will go for bigger purses than the events in the lower classes. And when comparing the chances of several horses, some of which have been racing in conditioned races while others have been in claiming events, you can get a true picture of their relative class simply by comparing the purses offered in their past races. So if a horse has been racing well against fields chasing a $3,000 purse, his chances of winning will be better if he drops into a $2,000 event. Here, though, a word of caution. When a horse comes from another track where the purse structure is different, purse will no longer be a good indicator of class. At a large track where more money is bet, a $10,000 claimer may offer a purse of $4,500, while the same claiming class at a smaller track may go for only $2,000. Knowing the difference in purses and how they relate to class helps you zero in on who the top horses are in a given race.
A number of new faces have been appearing on the backstretch at Truro Raceway in recent weeks. One of the newcomers is Wayne Haffey, a popular horseman at Tartan Downs. He spoke with Doug Harkness.
Wayne Haffey, you're now in Truro Raceway, but you started your career over in Newfoundland.
Yeah, back in '82, I started driving in Newfoundland. I was there for 10 years, raced a bunch of horses, mostly from May until October. Come to Sydney in October of '92, and been there for the last couple of years.
Newfoundland is back racing again this past year after a year's absence. That's a good sign for the sport.
Oh, definitely. A lot of interest in Newfoundland. There's a lot of good people down there.
And still a lot of good owners, Wayne.
Yes, that's what the game needs, good owners. Like I say, there's people down there that really want to make the sport work.
Wayne, you moved into Sydney, and you've been a regular there for the last couple of years and been doing very well there.
Yeah, not bad. Hold my own, you know, as best I can.
And I guess probably the reason you're at Truro now is the fact that Sydney won't be racing for a couple of months this year, eh?
That's the reason I came, yeah. Just like where the shutdown is going on in Sydney. So hopefully we get an owner in Sydney and get harness racing back there.
What's the feeling the horsemen there? Are they confident that the track will keep going?
Yeah, a lot of horsemen are confident that there will be a buyer that will keep harness racing alive.
Wayne, what have you brought down to Truro? What type of stock have you got?
A couple of claimers and a couple of half-decent ones. There's Sonny Rankin sent up 4. And there's one there, Blonde of Kansas Snow. Robbie Levatt and George Excited got one there. And Rodney Forward and Ed Campbell sent up Casper, who.
I noticed your first debut at Truro Raceway on Thursday night, you reined home a winner. That must have made you feel pretty good.
Yeah, it's nice to rein home an old winner, especially a horse that's raced in Truro last winter. And Crafty Abe. So I got the job done. That's the main thing.
He was racing at 800 claimers in Sydney, and he beat the 2,000 here tonight in a better class.
Yeah, he's a tough old horse. He's all heart, I must say.
Tell us about this horse, Biggie, now. I know that Snow's on him, and he's been a fairly well top-flight horse in Sydney this year.
Yeah, he's a nice old horse. He's, like I say, he races top class down there every night. He'd be all right when he gets in his right class there, you know. You just got to see what happens, play by ear.
Wayne, you're at Truro Raceway now. Any ambitions maybe to go up the line even further?
Oh, this is fair enough, Doug. Right here.
Well, we want to wish you the best of luck at Truro Raceway with your stock, and also to the horsemen at Sydney. We wish that they'll get going again in the new year as well.
Sure. Thanks a lot.
It's time now for a feature on races from the past. This week's race took place in 1991 at Truro Raceway. Here's the call.
They're off and pacing. Off the gate quickly. Floppy Disc to grab the lead. Driving up on the outside, that's Silverwood Peggy now looking to take charge. As they continue into the turn, Silverwood Peggy has taken over the lead. Floppy Disc gives way, races second. Wittenberg on the outside is racing third. Rain Lady fourth. Swing or away in the 5 spot. 3 wide in 6 down the backstretch is Stand By You. Now we go back to Denashton Winner. Tarport's Takeoff. And trailing the field, Minus Accolade. They move past the opening quarter. Silverwood Peggy is off stride. Off stride of the front end goes Silverwood Peggy. And taking over the lead now, that's Wittenberg. They were past the opening quarter in 29 seconds as they continue past the 3A's. Wittenberg now has the lead. Floppy Disc on the inside is racing second. They continue off the top turn and approach the halfway point. Wittenberg leads the field by 1. Floppy Disc is racing second. Now settling in at the rail is Rain Lady as they move past the half. Denashton Winner starting up on the outside, giving cover to Swingor. They continue into the lower turn. On the move is Minus Accolade. Then Tarport's Takeoff. Stand By You in the trailer is Silverwood Peggy. The half reached in 59 and 4 as they move down the backstretch. And Wittenberg has the lead by 1. Denashton Winner moving up to challenge on the outside second. At the rail and racing from 3 is Floppy Disc. Swingor on the limb is pacing 4th. Rain Lady caught in 5th. Minus Accolade 6th. Tarport's Takeoff is 7. They move into the turn. Wittenberg looking strong out front with Denashton Winner right there giving chase second. Then a gap of 2.5 back to Swingor racing third. 3/4 in 1:30 and 4/5. They have an 1/8 to come as they move off the top turn. And still leading by 1 is Wittenberg. Denashton Winner is second. Swingor third. Minus Accolade moving up on the outside. Through the stretch they come. Wittenberg now draws off to 4 lengths. Denashton Winner second, but it will be Wittenberg to win it second. Is Denashton Winner. Minus Accolade finishes third.
We'll have more race action later in the program. But first, let's go back to Doug Harkness, who's now being joined by USTA Promotions Director John Pavlock.
John Pavlik, you're the Director of Promotions and Public Relations for the United States Trotting Association. Can you tell our viewers why they should get hooked on harness?
I can't think of anything more fun than going to the races. It's fun to try to solve those little problems. Who might win tonight? And if I can put down a couple of bob and go home with 3 bob, then I'm king of the world. It's just fun. It's pure competition. The sport is inherently exciting. A race, whether it's an automobile race or, of course, a harness race, there's just something where people want to get up and cheer and yell and scream, and there are very few sports or activities that people do that anymore. It's just fun, and you might win a buck or 2. That's the danger, and then you'll love it for a lifetime, of course.
How important, of course, is the horse in our sport?
It's everything we do. You know, we're under attack in our sport a little bit from the people who look after animal welfare, but I think they come as Johnny-come-latelys. Ronnie Waples, the great Hall of Fame driver from Canada, once said at a public meeting we held down in Florida that, you know, the truth be known, we treat our horses better than we treat our children. He's unfortunately right in some cases, but you know, Dougie, from being in the business and around it, that you have a horse that may not be a world beater, but he is injured and needs veterinary help, has to go to the clinic, and it's going to cost the owners a lot of money. There's no decision to be made. You help the horse and do everything you can to keep them competitive. And one of the great things that's happening in our sport is because of amateur driving, which is really undergoing a great increase in popularity, as well as the fact that we're discovering that these are doggone good horses to ride and enjoy. You can give them to a youngster and they can handle them. There's an afterlife for harness horses, and that's really great to see. So I think on balance, we can tell those critics that we're doing pretty doggone well. The horses, everything. They're just beautiful animals, aren't they?
I certainly agree with you there, John. John, a new patron to a racetrack, he walks into the racetrack, and then we present him with something called the program. That, to me, the first time I saw it, is Greek. What's harness racing doing? I know we're using your USTA tips on our show now that you have, but how can we educate our people better?
They have to remember that there are very few things that are really of interest to the handicapper, I think, at least the basic handicapper. You can make handicapping as complicated as you want it, as you well know. The driver's percentage of wins or his UDR, his average. Some drivers are simply better drivers than others, and they're going to have that high batting average. Pay attention to them, but it's not always the driver that wins the race. The horse should have a high winning percentage, have earned more money perhaps per start than the other horses. Moving into a little better post position, you know, the race sometimes go to the horse on the inside much more often than anything else. So post position, driver, the consistency of the horse. Time can be a little bit misleading. It's not always the horse who went the fastest mile last time out, but that can be a strong consideration. And certainly if the horse that you like, because it has a cute name, is not, it seems week after week, as fast as the others, well, it may be a cute name, but it may not be a cute bet. So those, I think, are some of the basic things. You can delve into it much farther. There are people that calculate track variance, and there are all sorts of things. There are a few books available through the libraries or the mail order houses that can help you. If you really want to get into it, I would suggest that maybe you send $5 US to me at the USTA in Columbus, Ohio. I know you'll give them the address. We have a book that Jerry Connors, our good friend, wrote called Handicapping Beyond the Basics, using real races and real handicapping problems that he helps us solve. And I think you can learn a lot through a book like that.
John, people, though, can't really expect to go to the races and come off with the lottery-type wins, thousands and thousands of dollars, can they, realistically?
$1 million a year for 1 million years? No, you can't. That's not the nature of the sport. You invest in a couple of dollars at a time. You may win 10, 20, a triactor, maybe a couple of $100. You may have to pay some serious tax money on it. But, you know, we in Ohio, where I come from, we just had a lottery payoff of $24 million, went to one person down there, and the chances of winning that were like 1 in 15 million. Now, of every dollar wagered at a harness track, about 80 cents goes back into the pockets of the patrons that walk out with. I think your odds are a heck of a lot better. You know, I don't need $1 million to live on. A triactor now and then. You can buy a new tie, and I need one, goodness knows. That's fun. The thing is to win. There have been many times, Doug, I know you've done it too, where you walked out of the racetrack 20 cents ahead, and you felt like the king of Siam. You're the smartest guy in the world because you beat the races that night. That's all.
The third leg of the $2,000 Claimer Series was held at Truro Raceway on January 29th. Here's Doug Harkness to set the scene.
Well, Dave Carey, who had sort of dominated the series with 3 winners out of the first 6 legs, was in the first division last Sunday with Reactor Nucleaire. This horse added spreaders in the race today, leaving from post number 4, and was considered one of the favorites. Ecology GB, with Danny Romo back up on the bike, was leaving from post 3, also considered a threat, as was red-hot Robert Laffin with Cadet's Image, who was leaving on the rail. There were 7 starters in this division, including the filly Charlotte's Amy with Phil Pinckney aboard. This filly has a 2-3 summary going into this race, and despite the fact she drew post 6, we expected her to be in the money as well. Here's Joe Kelly with the call, however, for the first division of the third leg, the $2,000 Claiming Series at Truro Raceway.
They're off and pacing off the gate quickly. Ecology GB is looking for the early lead. Cadet's Image at the rail. Up in the far outside, Charlotte's Amy is 4 wide. They race on to the opening 8th. Ecology GB in the center, emerging with the lead. Cadet's Image gives way to race second. Charlotte's Amy is pacing third, settling in 4th. That's Reactor Nucleaire. From 5 down the backstretch, Calavretta Ideal. Township Cassandra takes a look in 6th. and 7th, and trailing the field, Cyrano de Naval. They race past the opening quarter. Charlotte's Amy is now the new leader. She has it by 2 lengths, with Ecology GB giving chase second. At the rail, third is Cadets MH. Reactor Nuclear next in line, 4th. A gap of 4 open lengths back to Calavretta Ideal in 5. Outside 6 is Cyrano de Naval. And Township Cassandra is now trailing. They were past the opening station in 29 and 1/5 second. They move up to the halfway point, still led by Charlotte's Amy. The lead 1 length. Here comes Cadets Image first up second. At the rail and staying there third is Ecology GB. Following cover, second over, Reactor Nuclear is 4th. 5th on the outside is Cyrano de Naval. In along the rail. And racing in 6th is Calavretta Ideal. And Township Cassandra. Can see them all as they race on to the backside. They were past the half in 1 minute flat. Charlotte's Amy still leading it by half a length. Cadets Image in pursuit. Second, locked in the pocket. Third is Ecology GB. Reactor Nuclear is tipping 3 wide. They race on past the 3/4 out there. 3 wide. Reactor Nuclear looking for the lead. Cadets Image in the center is second. Third in along the rail is Charlotte's Amy. Ecology GB is racing 4th. Sweeping up 3 wide in 5. That's Cyrano de Naval. They race past the 7/8. They're 3 deep. As they head off the top turn, now 4 wide in along the rail, Charlotte's Amy. Outside is Cadets Image second. On 3 wide, Reactor Nuclear. Extreme outside is Cyrano de Naval. There's 5, 6 of them across the track as they race to the payoff. Reactor Nuclear, Township Cassandra. Reactor Nuclear wins it. Township Cassandra finishing second. It's close for third.
Well, Clonmel Tyson, who had won the second leg of the series, had a new driver in leg 3, Phil Pinckney, getting the driving assignment by a veteran Nightly Blue Chip horse, leaving from post 3, Clonmel Tyson. Also in this division, MD Waverly with Danny Romo, leaving from post 2. Nichols Cole, a big reversal in form in the series for Nichols Cole. He was well back in the first leg, claimed by a new owner, and won the second leg. He's back now in the third leg, and also has to be considered in this race from post 5. Kevin Pinckney again gets the driving assignment. Eagle When She Flies from 6, Keenson from post 7, and Jericho Knock, who's making his second start in the series. This is a claimer from Charlottetown Driving Park owned by Norman Hall, leaving from post 8, but he's a tough campaigner. We look to see him in the money. However, we look for Clonmel Tyson and Phil Pinckney to go to the lead early and never be headed. Here's Joe Kelly, however, with the call.
They're off and pacing. Clonmel Tyson is off the gate first to grab the lead. Franny's Kid moves out second. Up on the lame. Eagle When She Flies is racing third. MD Waverly comes away 4th. Jericho Knock up on the outside, parked out 5. At the rail and racing from 6 as they head down the backstretch for time 1. That is Magian Maverick. Away in 7, Nichols Cole, and the 8th one is Keen Sun. They move on down the backstretch and past the opening quarter. Clonmel Tyson will dictate the pace. A length and a half lead over a parked out Eagle When She Flies. In the pocket, Franny's Kid third. Covered up on the outside, 4th is Jericho Knock. MD Waverly is caught in at the rail in 5. Tied up racing 6th is Magian Maverick. Nichols Cole racing from 7. And sitting at the back of the field, that is Keen Sun. The opening panel, 29 and 2/5 seconds. They move off the top turn and approach the half. Clonmel Tyson is still the pace setter, a length and a half on Franny's Kid. Jericho Knock moving up 3 wide into 3. Also 3 wide is Nichols Cole in along the rail, MD Waverly. Then we go back to Magian Maverick, Eagle When She Flies, and Keen Sun. They race into the turn, the half in 59 and 4/5 seconds. They move on down the backside. Clonmel Tyson still leading a length and a half. Jericho Knock advancing on the outside is now within 3/4 of a length second. Third at the rail, Franny's Kid. Nichols Cole up into contention 4th. MD Waverly looking to the outside 5. Magian Maverick 6. Keen Sun is 7 and well back and trailing. Eagle When She Flies. They move on to the upper turn. Clonmel Tyson is still your leader by half a length. 1:30 and 2, the 3/4. Clonmel Tyson. Jericho Knock the outside second. Franny's Kid third. MD Waverly out there 4 wide is 4th. Nichols Cole is racing 5th off the turn. Here they come to the payoff. They're led home by Clonmel Tyson. MD Waverly on the far outside. Franny's Kid in the passing lane. They're not catching Clonmel Tyson. Franny's Kid finishing second.
Well, the third division, third leg of the $2,000 claiming series was considered to be the toughest one in that it had 3 previous winners involved. Advanced Glance with Dave Carey, a winner in leg 1, drew post 1 and was considered to be one of the top horses to beat in this field. Saturday's Child, leaving from post 6, was a winner in the second leg of the series, and PH Terminator also won in the second leg of the series. So 3 winners. PH Terminator, who was driven to his victory by Dave Carey, had the hands of Gary Daniels today. Gary getting the catch drive because, of course, Dave Carey was driving Advanced Glance, an indication that Carey liked Advanced Glance the best in this one. Also, there was Daystar Elmerhurst from post 2, Gold Prince from 3, Zachary Collins from post 4, then Pullover, and Clonmel Classic from post 7. Actually, we liked Advanced Glance from the rail for Dave Carey. To win it, Zachary Collins from post 2, and for a third choice, Saturday's Child. Here's Joe Kelly, however, with the third division, third leg of the $2,000 claiming series.
They are off and pacing. Advanced Glance at the rail is away looking for the early lead against Zachary Collins. Settling in is Daystar Elmerhurst third, taking a seat Gold Prince in 4. Away in 5, that's Pullover, followed 6th by Saturday's Child. Clonmel Classic comes away 7, and PH Terminator is 8th and treading the field. They move on down the backside. Advanced Glance emerging with the top spot by 3 parts of a length. That is Zachary Collins, parked out second. Daystar Elmerhurst follows third. Then a gap of 3.5 lengths back to 4th, and Gold Prince from 5. That is Pullover up on the outside. Saturday's Child is backing up and moving up around. As they move by the 3/8 is Clonmel Classic. They move off the top turn, 29 and 1/5 second. They continue off the top turn. Advanced Glance is clear by 5 open lengths as they approach the half. Now racing second is Gold Prince. Zachary Collins outside third. In along the rail 4th is Daystar Elmerhurst. From 5 as they race into the lower turn is Pullover. The inquiry sign has been posted as they move on over to the 5/8. The half reached in 59 and 2/5 seconds. Advanced Glance still leading the way, a length and a half. Giving chase is Gold Prince second, third Daystar Elmerhurst. Pullover at the rail has 4, 5th. On the outside, Zachary Collins locked in racing 6th is Clonmel Classic from 7 as they move down the backside. That is PH Terminator, and trailing the field is Saturday's Child. They race on to the 7/8. Advanced Glance by 2.5 lengths over Gold Prince. On the inside, racing third. That is Clonmel Classic. Up on the limb, 4th is Pullover. 5th along the rail is PH Terminator. 1:31 was the 3/4. Through the stretch they come for the final time. They're led home by Advanced Glance on the outside. Gold Prince down in the passing lane is Clonmel Classic. Advanced Glance will win it. Finishing second, it looks like Clonmel Classic, then Gold Prince.
That's Keeping Pace for this week. We'd like to hear from you. If we use your story idea on the air, we'll send you an official Keeping Pace t-shirt. So send your story ideas to Keeping Pace. Hello, I'm Dwayne Geldart, and welcome to Keeping Pace. On today's show, we'll meet the 1994 Maritime Dash Win champion. We'll talk with Cyril Reddy about the USDA convention to be held in Truro, and we'll introduce you to a couple of new mini-features here on Keeping Pace. But first, here's Doug Harkness in conversation with Ken Starrett of Maritime Breeders about this year's bids for the 1995 Dairy Queen races.
Ken Starrett, one of the important items on the annual meeting of the MBA will be, of course, the decision on where the Dairy Queen futurity dates go in 1995. The harness racing industry, of course, is looking forward to that. I know you've had the tender process, and basically, what does that tell us?
Well, it tells us that usually they go in the highest bidders, and we've had 5 or 6 tracks bidding on them each year. This year, all seems to be able to go to the highest bidder, subject to a vote of our board of directors. The 2 trout events will go to Charlottetown. They bid the highest this year, and there are more trout-bred horses in the island anyway, so that's a natural for them Old Home Week over there.
Okay, let's look at the other events. The 3-year-old Pacing Colts that's gone to Truro in recent years, always sort of a bookend event in their big Atlantic Grand Circuit week. What about this year?
Yes, it'll come to Truro this year. They were the highest by over $1,000 in their bid. Their bid was $11,100 for the 3-year-old Colts, and that will ensure that they have the beginning and end of Grand Circuit Week.
Truro, of course, has always been successful. They've hosted, I guess, probably now more Dairy Queen events than any other track. They got the 3-year-old Colts this year. Anything else?
Yes, as I look at the sheet here, Doug, they have the 2-year-old Pacing Colts as well. They didn't have the highest bid, but Sydney were successful in the 3-year-old Pacing Fillies. Then they only wanted to host one event. So Truro was second in the bidding, but they get the 2-year-old Pacing Colts as well.
So Tartan Downs, who had a great campaign last year, hosted their first Dairy Queen Futurity event with their biggest crowd and the biggest bet in years, have got another one this year.
Yes, they do, and they're very aggressive. That much credit goes to the Richard Ledicka and the Horsemen's Association, and we're pleased also that Donnie McClellan, who's so well known in the race business in Atlantic Canada, is down there managing the place, and so we think it'll come ahead.
Ken, there have been some problems, of course, or financial problems that Tartan Downs is facing. Their future, I guess you could say, looks a little better now, but there's still a possibility they may face closure. What happens if they can't stage an event?
Well, we may open it to tenders again, depending on the board of directors, or it would go to the second place bidder. In that event, we don't really be concerned about them fulfilling their tender if the track is open, because the Horsemen's Association last year put up the money, and they deposit in our bank account before the races, so we were well off that way. Not like in some other tracks, you have to be very careful. We're always very careful with tracks that are privately held. With events at Truro and Fredericton and St. John and Charlottetown, they're owned by exhibition associates. They have lots of land there. You wouldn't want to put a lien on them, but you could.
Okay, so we have events in Nova Scotia and in Prince Edward Island, the 2 trot events, and again an event in New Brunswick. So you've got 3 province participation again this year. St. John got an event.
Yes, that's very good for Dairy Queen as well, because their store owners, there are about 25 of them in Atlantic Canada. They'd like to see it spread out as much as you can, and yet we can't rig anything. But it's nice to see an event going to St. John, and 2 events in Charlottetown Old Home Week, which should give us a lot of publicity. And the advertising that's done by Dairy Queen help these special weeks that they have, too, as it did in Sydney last year, and it does with Grand Circle Week in Truro.
St. John are going to get the 2-year-old pacing fillies, I understand.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, they bid a little better this year than they have before, and that 2-year-old pacing fillies will also go for about $50,000 in the final.
Your upcoming meeting, I assume probably there'll be some suggestions or some discussion anyway on your rules.
Yes, there are, and with the events that happened last year and positive tests and so on, there are some stallion owners that are being very aggressive and may ask for lifetime suspensions out of our program. There are other stallion owners that want to get all the stake programs together, including the government-funded Atlantic Sire Stakes, and ask that there be severe penalties for anyone in one of these stake races or programs is caught with a positive test or something that's illegal. And our directors, I think, will go along with that. They're looking for a minimum 5-year suspension. And we have the right to reject any entry, any driver, any trainer, any groom, and any owner. We've reserved that right. We've never really had to exercise it, but it's there. It's a contract.
The program continues to be popular, and I understand that already new faces are arriving on the Maritime Stallion ranks for 1995.
Yes, it sort of goes back to the old biblical days. Who's got the best stallion? And they always have battles over it, and they just keep increasing the popularity of the stallions by paying more for them, bringing in top-grade, world-class stallions, and, of course, that's forcing the upgrading of the broodmares as well.
Ken Starrett, thank you very much.
Thank you, Doug.
Keeping Pace and Pie Chevold, Central Nova Scotia's largest GM truck dealer, are proud to offer official Keeping Pace t-shirts. If you send us a story idea and we use it on the air, we'll send you one. So forward your ideas to Keeping Pace, care of Eastern Cable, Channel 4, 69 Walker Street, Truro, Nova Scotia, B2N 4A8. Official Keeping Pace t-shirts are only available through this offer. The battle for Dash Win honors went right down to the wire in 1994, with the winner not being decided until the final race of the season. Dave Carey entered the final card with a 1-win lead over Gary McDonald. Carey increased his lead on the opening dash.
Off the top turn, 134 and 4 3/4. Jim Jade has taken over the lead with Valuable Scooter now racing second. Dr. LC is third. Fourth is Bats Accolade. It's all Jim Jade. He's going to draw off to win it. Finishing second is Valuable Scooter, and the show spot goes to Dr. LC.
Defending champion Gary McDonald would narrow the gap in the very next race when he drove the favorite.
They race past the 7/8, 132 and 1 3/4. On the inside, Pix by Day has reclaimed the lead. Granite Gambler sitting outside second, Final Flight third. Here they come to the payoff. Pix by Day with the lead by a length. On the outside, Granite Gambler, Pix by Day, Granite Gambler, Pix by Day will prevail. Granite Gambler second with Belle Isle Bay finishing third.
The 1994 championship would be decided in race 10 with Dave Carey aboard May Contain.
They drive to the payoff. They're all in pursuit of May Contain, and they will not catch him. The battle is for place. Primary Sun on the outside will finish second. Third is Muscle Toxin.
In the final race of the year, Robert Laffin won the Truro Dash win title, edging Carey 119 to 118 in the Truro standings. Doug Harkness visited the Carey stable to talk with Dave about his big season.
Well, Dave Carey, we'd like to congratulate you on your victory, the 1994 Dash winning champion in the Maritimes. Your personal feelings on it?
Well, I'd never won it, so it was kind of nice to win, you know. Kind of lucky, really, like it was close. Kind of a shame to see anybody lose when it was that close, really, I thought. Gary gave it a good shot. I think maybe the luck of the draw beat him more than anything.
Well, both 1 and 2 in the last race, so you're right down to the wire.
Yeah. Well, that's the way it goes.
Dave, I know that you raced hurt during the last part of the campaign. You had that accident, spectacular as it was in November, and for a while we didn't think you were going to come back. But the pains and aches still there?
Well, I didn't know if I would either. I just had to wait a couple of weeks and see how it come. But yeah, you get a few aches and pains, but as long as that's all it is, you know, you learn to live with that.
Tell me this: if you had not been in the Maritime Dash Hunt, do you think maybe you'd stayed down?
Not likely. You know, that's what I do for a living, so I don't think. I think I'd have probably been driving anyway.
Dave, what do you attribute to your big season last year?
Well, I raced a lot of claiming horses. I think that's probably where most of my wins come from. I never sat down and figured it out, but if I did, I'd say probably 75% of my wins come in claimers, so that's probably why.
You put your horses where they fit?
Yeah, you've got to. Most of my owners couldn't afford to keep them if they didn't pay their board or at least pay a good portion of the board, so you've got to put them in where they fit.
Dave, what's things look like for 1995? Another busy schedule?
Oh, it's usually busy. I hope it'll be busy anyway, but I don't see much of a change. I was always looking for a good stake colt or something like that. I guess it won't change much.
Good. You won you won the championship with the horse that you've had for Lyle Carter and Stan Rath, May Contain. I guess that probably pleased those boys very much.
Yeah, I guess it would. But I imagine they were quite happy. He's a good little horse, and it was just lucky that night he happened to be down in class and he got the job done. Another, probably the one that was won it more than him was he should have won where he was in, but Jim Jade beat Gary in the first race, and that was like winning too, because if I didn't win, he was going to win, and I didn't expect him to win, so that was kind of a bonus.
Yeah, Jim Jade, he came from way back and overtook Gary. That was
he didn't race his style at all. Usually he's not good unless he's off the front, but I was willing to take it.
Anything can happen in a close competition like that, and Dave Carey, want to congratulate you once again for your 1994 championship.
Thank you very much, Doug.
Dave Carey was also involved in this week's flashback feature. The race was the last Roby Kaiser at Sackville Downs. Dave was driving the winner, Heels Lad.
They're up. Heels Lad off the gate. First looks for the lead. Winner's Accolade driving up on the outside. Jig Time Buddy pacing along the rail. They go to the turn. Heels Lad leading. Winner's Accolade parked outside of him is second and looks for the front end. They go by the 8th into the backstretch. The first 8, 13 in a piece. They're moving through the backstretch, going to the quarter. As they arrive at the quarter, Winner's Accolade taking over the top spot. Heels Lad races second, and Jig Time Buddy is at the back of the field. Opening quarter, 28 2/5. They move on to the upper turn. As they arrive now at the 3/8, Winner's Accolade off the top, leading by 1. Enjoying it in behind him. Second is Heels Lad. 2 lengths in back, Jig Time Buddy. They're off the top turn, straightening out through the stretch. First time as they move up to the halfway point. They pass the grandstand. Winner's Accolade leads by 1 over Heels Lad. Starting to catch up a bit. 3 is Jig Time Buddy. As they pass the halfway point, they reach the half, 59 1/5. They travel on to the 5/8. Winner's Accolade is still there. Heels Lad stays tied up in 2. Jig Time Buddy racing at the back. They move by to 5/8 into the back stretch for the second time. Winner's Accolade still strong on the front end. Heels Lad stays right with them as they go to the 3/4 pole. Jig Time Buddy now by 1.5, sitting in the 3 spot. They race to the 3/4. Winner's Accolade holds on to the top. Heels Lad and Jig Time Buddy still getting closer. 1:30 and 1/5. They travel to the upper turn. Winner's Accolade. Heels Lad now looks to the outside. Jig Time Buddy catches up. Here they come off the turn into the lane for home. Winner's Accolade, Heels Lad to the outside. Jig Time Buddy comes 3 wide. 3 of them into contention. They're driving through the lane. Winner's Accolade, Heels Lad moving on. Jig Time Buddy closing way on the outside. As they come to the wire, it's going to be Heels Lad, Jig Time Buddy, and Winner's Accolade.
Truro Raceway will host the 1995 USTA District 10 Convention. Chairman Frank Daniels is recovering from recent surgery, but Cyril Reddy has stepped in to assist with the convention. He talked with Doug Harkness.
Well, Cyril Reddy, I understand you've sort of been designated as a catch driver for the USTA District 10 Convention coming up, and you're helping Frank Daniels, who is ailing out with the convention. How's it shaping up?
Well, I'd be a little large to be a catch driver, Doug, but I'm a stand-in. The convention's coming along real good. We firmed up the final plans yesterday. The agenda is very, very much filled with quality. Friday afternoon, we have John Pollock, the Director of Public Relations with the United States Trotting Association, who will give a seminar. That'll last about an hour and a half. At 7 o'clock in the evening, the Maritime Provinces Harness Racing Commission, Ted Anderson, the Director, is going to give an overview of the Commission's first 6 months of operation. We'll then, the vast majority, I suspect, will move on to the Truro Raceway for the simulcast racing. On Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, Dr. Chrysanne Colotis from the Atlantic Veterinary College in Charlottetown is going to talk about respiratory illness and bleeding in horses. And, of course, Dr. Mike Weaver from Agriculture Canada will be down talking about treatment of horses. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we will have the United States Trotting Association District 10 annual meeting. And we have a very special feature this year, which is an Atlantic Stallion Showcase, which will open at 5:30 in the same area as the Banquet. At this point, we have more than a dozen exhibitors who will be promoting their stallions, of course, of the breeding season close up. Banquet and awards dinner, which look for about 200 or more people, 7:30 in the evening, and, of course, back Sunday morning with the Atlantic Stallion Showcase, the Atlantic Standardbred Breeders Annual Meeting, and, of course, the Maritime Breeders Annual Meeting, and the special Sunday afternoon feature, the USTA Pace rate at 1:30 Sunday afternoon.
And Clayton, a nice gesture this year in honoring the veteran Clayton McLeod at your annual awards banquet.
I spent last evening with Clayton talking about his career. 50 years in the bike, 984 wins, driving championships all over Atlantic Canada. Will be a very exciting evening, and he's extremely honored to be recognized on that evening.
The veterans will remember Clayton McLeod setting a track record at Sydney when he was only 16 years of age with a trotter that his dad had, and then there was Iola Henley and Jerry's Nightmare.
Well, Iola Henley and Jerry's Nightmare and Stone Dale and Mighty Boy and all great horses over the years, and still, of course, active with a small public stable.
Lots of interest, too, on the Maritime Horse of the Year. It looks like it might be quite a contest.
At this point, the indications are a photo finish. We'll know in the morning what happens. We have 3 or 4 horses that are getting very serious attention. Of course, Hornbill Blaze, tremendous pacer, Western Exotic, the big trotter, Guy on the Go. Many of these horses getting a lot of attention, so it's probably the closest race in years.
Great. Cyril, just before you go, and I want to get you to change your hat a bit from a banquet chairman, because I know you're on the Raceway Management Committee at Truro. Truro has cut down its number of triactors to 4 a night. A little bit of short-term pain, but how do you think it's going to turn out?
Well, it's a significant change for bettors in Atlantic Canada, and particularly at the Truro Raceway. Somewhat could compare it to a New Year's diet, changing living habits. But clearly, I believe that it's the right way to go. It's proven successfully on the OJC and the Atlantic Seaboard. Just be patient. The people will see that there are more winners, and that's what we need at our racetrack, more winners.
Well, I noticed that your bet in 1994 was down over $500,000, so it was time for something to happen.
Certainly, and we got to be innovative in this business and take chances and take risks, and we'll make a few mistakes along the way, but we'll all be better off for it.
Cyril Reddy, thank you very much.
Thank you, Doug.
Truro Raceway has changed its wagering profile in 1995, reducing the number of tri-actors to 4 per card. For those who like to wager, Keeping Pace presents Wagering Tips. Here's this week's tip.
Let's start right at the beginning with the source of all the handicapping information you'll need to know, the Past Performance Program. Inside, usually near the front, there's a description of how to read the statistical information contained within. Now from there, you'll see the race pages with all the information about the last few races for each horse, as well as yearly summaries on starts, wins, and earnings. Most programs also carry charts, a description of how each individual race came out, and giving the handicapper a picture of what each horse did in that race. Also, the program contains statistical information important to any handicapper, such as the list of leading drivers and the number of winners to come from each post position. Program content varies from track to track and may appear a bit differently, but all the pertinent information is there, and at about $1 a copy, it's the most valuable tool any handicapper can use. At the ball game, you can't tell the players without a scorecard, and at the harness races, you can't pick a winner without a program.
Race number 11 has Riser, Harrier, Redo Harbor, Southside Lowry, Scotty J, Lorette Fantasia, Stone Riggs Kid, Island Link, and Follish Mark. They're off and pacing. Riser at the rail is away looking for the early lead. Redo Harbor driving out quickly on the outside is second. Settling in third is Harrier. Wide racing fourth is Stone Riggs Kid, followed out 5 by Follish Mark. Scotty J on the outside has 6. Getting away 7 is Southside Larry. Lorette Fantasia from 8. And a 9th and trailing the field, that's Island Link. They move up the backstretch and on to the opening quarter. Out front, Riser leads by half a length. Parked on the outside. Redo Harbor is second. In along the rail third. That's Harrier. Next in line, Stone Riggs Kid fourth. Scotty J takes a look in 5. They race on to the top turn. Redo Harbor on the outside leads by 3 parts of a length. Riser controls the rail second. In behind them, Harrier enjoying the trip third. Fourth and looking to the outside is Stone Riggs Kid. Scotty J 5. Sixth is Follish Mark. Holding down 7, that's Southside Larry. Lorette Fantasia 8, and Island Lake is trailing 28 and 3 was the opening quarter as they move past the half and clearing the lead. Redo Harbor by a length and a half. Riser is second. Harrier at the rail third. Outside racing fourth is Stone Riggs Kid. Scotty J tracks in fifth. Sixth at the rail is Follish Mark. Then Southside Larry, Lorette Fantasia, and Island Link. The half in a brisk 57 and 4. They move up the backstretch and on to the 3 quarters. Redo Harbor leads the way. Now up on the outside and advancing up to second is Scotty J at the rail, racing third. That is Riser. Harrier pacing in 4. Fifth on the outside, Stone Riggs Kid. They race on to the top turn. Scotty J on the outside is sticking ahead in front. Redo Harbor at the rail, battling back second. Third is Riser. Moving to the outside, there goes Harrier fourth. Fifth and along the rail is Follish Mark. Less than an eighth to come. 1:29 and 1, the 3 quarters. They're led home by Scotty J. Second is Redo Harbor. Riser in the passing lane. Third, Harrier fourth. But it will be number 5, Scotty J, winning it. It's close for second between Redo Harbor and Riser.
Well, Dave Pinckney, during your career, you've had a lot of great horses, but the horse that really stood out for me this year with a great improved performance was Scotty J. Tell me, this horse, just a tremendous turnaround. What happened? How'd you do it?
Well, he was kind of hard to get going. He was hard to show, to get him shod right, and he had one bad leg on him. We got that fixed up on him, and changed a few things on him. He started racing.
And race good he did. Dave, this horse used to make breaks. At the last of it, he was almost perfect graded.
Yeah, he'd go off stride a lot. As soon as he get to the 7/8, all he wanted to do was run. But it took a lot of time, patience, and I just kept fooling with him last night.
His owner, Bernie Eade, must be awful happy.
Stan Icing.
Stan Icing, rather. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's pretty proud of him, I guess. Yeah.
Dave, yourself as a horseman, you must also be proud of an accomplishment like that, turning the horse around like this fella.
Well, yeah, it's great to have one to turn around and go for you. And, he raced good. He can finish good. One time all you wanted to do was leave, and you couldn't get him back. And
And Al said if I could get him back, he'd be able to finish. So I kept pulling until I got him back, and now he's all right. He'll come back.
Nice nifty 157 and 4 record for this horse. Can he go faster?
Oh, I don't think so. I think that's... I was kind of surprised he went that much, really. I thought he'd probably pace 2 minutes and 58 maybe at the most, but I never thought he'd go quite that fast.
Dave, he certainly is our candidate for the most improved horse in this ground and one of the top claimers. I want to congratulate you.
Thank you very much, Doug.
We're going to wrap up today's show with race action from the January 5th card at Truro Raceway. Here's Doug to set the scene.
Well, the top class in the January 5th card at Truro Raceway was a combined class with 7,500 claimers and non-winners 1,251. This class had some good horses in it, including Fleet Director, formerly owned by Frank Daniels, the USTA director, now owned by son Scott. Leaving from post 9 right behind Fleet Director was Riser, a horse that was brought in by Gary Daniels for Butch Horn and who won last year at Truro. Also in this field, Island Link from 2, Harbour Sun from 3, Burnin', Gary McDonald 4, Lone Water Hobo, leaving from post 5, and Stone Riggs Kid, Jimmy Davis. This horse had been up racing in the preferred class, leaving from post 6 tonight. Cocan Willie, a real tough $7,500 claimer from post 7, and Ultimate Speed from post 8. Some good horses here, some early speed expected in this race, but on class alone, you have to like Jimmy Davis with the number 6 horse, Stone Riggs Kid. Here's Joe Kelly for the call.
They're off and pacing. Stone Riggs Kid from the far outside is hustled out against Lone Water Hobo and out the rail Fleet Director. They move into the first turn. Stone Riggs Kid on the outside, intent on the lead as they head by the opening 8th. Stone Riggs Kid takes charge. Lone Water Hobo gives way and will race second. Next in line, that's Fleet Director 3rd, followed out by Riser in 4. Taking a look in 5, that's Island Link. From 6 is Harbour Sun. Burnin' has 7. Away racing in 8 is Cocan Willie. And 9th and trailing the field is Ultimate Speed. They race on to the top turn. 30 seconds flat was the opening quarter. Stone Riggs Kid sets the tempo. Has a 1-length advantage on Lone Water Hobo. Tied up 3rd. That's Fleet Director coming first over. Island Link 4th. 5th and along the rail is Riser. Outside Harbour Sun is 2nd over, racing in 6th. They move off the turn and approach the halfway point. Still led by Stone Riggs Kid, a 1.5 lengths over the pocket-sitting Lone Water Hobo. 3rd along the rail is Fleet Director. 4th is Riser. Island Link first up 5. Burnin' caught in 6. Harbour Sun has 7. Ultimate Speed in 8, and Cocan Willie is the 9th one. 1:01 and 1 was the half. They make their way onto the backside for the final time. Up front, it's still Stone Riggs Kid, a 1.5 lengths. Here comes Fleet Director on the outside, now 2nd. At the rail and dropping off 3rd is Lone Water Hobo. 3 wide, racing 4th is Riser. 5th on the outside, that's Burnin'. 6th is Ultimate Speed. They race on to the 7/8, all in pursuit of Stone Riggs Kid. There by 2 lengths with Fleet Director racing 2nd. Next in line, 3rd, that's Riser. In along the rail, Burnin' 4th, Ultimate Speed, 3 wide, 5, an 8th left to come, 1:31 and 4 the 3/4. They're still led by Stone Riggs Kid, 2.5 lengths on Fleet Director, with Burnin' now racing 3rd through the stretch final time. Stone Riggs Kid draws off to win it. Finishing 2nd is Burnin'. It looks like Riser 3rd.
That's Keeping Pace for this week. We'd like to hear from you. If we use your story idea on the air, we'll send you an official Keeping Pace t-shirt. So send your story ideas to
Truro Raceway, Canada's fastest half-mile track, is proud to sponsor Keeping Pace. Post times at Truro Raceway are Thursdays at 7 p.m. and Sundays at 1:30 p.m. Truro Raceway, on the exhibition grounds in Bible Hill.
Hello, I'm Dwayne Geldart, and welcome to Keeping Pace. On today's show, we'll have coverage of the second leg of the $2,000 Claimer Series. We'll talk with Ted Andrews, Director of Racing for the Maritimes, and we'll have our weekly features. But first, here's Doug Harkness with a recap of the recent USTA convention.
The District 10 convention, which was held at Keddy's Motor Inn in Truro, was one of the best attended in years, with some 200 gathering for the awards banquet on the Saturday night, which honored the top performers of the 1994 season. Truro Raceway was the host track for the convention, and the awards banquet was attended by municipal, provincial, and federal elected officials. The USTA paid special recognition to longtime horseman Clayton McLeod of Truro and had a special citation for Glace Bay horse owner Tom McPherson. The 1994 Horse of the Year award went to West River Exotic, owned by Claire McDonald of Antigonish. He set 3 all-age trot records during the season and was a Triple Crown Stakes winner in the region. Dave Carey of Truro was the leading dash winner in the Maritimes with 125 victories. The Atlantic Sire Stakes also honored its top performers. West River Exotic was the 3-year-old trot champion. Guy on the Go, a son of Willowbird Stand-Up DB, co-owned by Russell Burgoyne, and Sandy Fraser was the top 3-year-old pacing colt, earning $60,000 on the year. 3-year-old pacing filly honors went to First Quest, a daughter of Stargaze Hanover, who was campaigned by Rod Jameson for owner Earl Fram and breeder of the First Horse Farm of Moncton. The 2-year-old trotter of the year was Maggie Hill, owned by Sean McIsaac of Cornwall PEI. And 2-year-old pacing filly honors, of course, went to Charlotte's Brett, the Denman filly, owned by Tom McPherson of Glace Bay and campaigned by Earl Smith.